Hello, welcome. Thank you so much for coming. We are so excited to have you at our application workshop tonight. Thanks for joining on. Hi, welcome everybody. My name is Brooke. I'm one of the admissions representatives that we have here at APU. You may have seen emails from me before if I'm your admissions counselor, but we are just so excited to have you tonight for our virtual APU workshop event. It's going to be really great. We're going to have lots of good information for you on how to apply to APU and just a little bit more about the school that we hope you'll be able to attend next year. So thank you so much for joining me. I'm so excited to be with all of you tonight. I'll give it just a little bit longer so we can let a few more friends jump on, but thanks so much for coming. Like I mentioned, my name is Brooke. I'm one of the admissions representatives that we have here at Azusa Pacific University. I'm so excited to talk a little bit more about the application for APU and then just a little bit more about the school. I have my territory currently is all out-of-state students that we don't travel to. So that's kind of like a lot of the East Coast. And then I also have Northern California. So I just traveled to Sacramento. If you're from there, I'm your admissions counselor, and hopefully I got to meet you last week. But just so excited to get to be with you all today. We're going to talk through the scary thing that is the application and really simplify it for you so you know exactly how to do it as you are finishing that up in the next couple of weeks. But I'm so excited for you to be with us today. Thank you so much for joining. I am going to go ahead and get started. So for those of you who have been here the whole time, you get to meet me again. My name is Brooke. I'm one of the admissions representatives that we have at Azusa Pacific University. I have been here for about 2 years. This year, currently, my territory is all out of state non-travel territories. So that looks like kind of like the Midwest and then some of the East Coast. And then I also do get to travel to Northern California and like more specifically Sacramento area. So I really love working with all of you, and I'm so excited to dive into the application today and just talk about how you can do that. I want to encourage you, if you have questions that you've really been wanting to ask an admissions representative, you can utilize the Q&A feature. I'm going to do a presentation, and then once I finish up, we'll have a time where you can get those questions answered. So please be thinking of some questions that you might have for me or just about the school in general, and we'll be able to get those answered. I also have a team member who's kind of working behind the scenes. His name is Randall. He's another admissions representative, and he will also be replying to some of those questions in the Q&A box. So like I said, be thinking of those and feel free to drop those in as I am sharing. But I'm going to go ahead and get started today and just share my screen with all of you. This will be a short presentation, but it just kind of gives some more context for who we are at APU, and hopefully it will provide you some insight with how to get started on your application. So once again, welcome to Azusa Pacific. We are so glad that you could be here with us today. I don't know where you're joining in from, but it's so exciting that we're able to have so many different people from all over the country. To go ahead and get started today, I want to talk to you a little bit about our history. So APU was founded in 1899. We actually originally started out as a training school for Christian workers. And then in 1946, we ended up moving to Azusa, California. You can kind of see like the aerial shot up above there. Our campus has obviously grown a lot, but that's what it first looked like. And then in 1981, APU kind of has a new renaming, and it's now called Azusa Pacific University, which is what we all know it as now. And then now it's 2021, and you are visiting us virtually at APU, which is so exciting. So even though we have gone through lots of changes, as I just shared about, one thing really has remained the same for us at APU, and that is our motto, which is God first. So here at APU, we really and truly believe that that is the centerpiece of everything that we do. It's been our motto since 1899 when we were first founded, and it's really carried into each part of our school as a whole. So this little symbol here is kind of our motto. It really stands for our 4 cornerstones that we have here at APU. You'll see it on all our billboards and our ads. So it stands for the 4 cornerstones, which are Christ, scholarship, service, and community. And that makes up who we are here at APU. So beginning with Christ, we are a private Christian institution. So what that means for you as a student, we do not require you to be a Christian to come to APU, but all of our staff and faculty at APU are Christian. So we give you the opportunity to come regardless of your background, but there are a few things that come with being a Christian institution. And one of those is going to be our chapel services. So the chapel service is a time where you as a student, you get to meet with other students. We have tons of different opportunities for you to go to chapel, as well as different styles and services that kind of fit best with what you may be like. But during this time, the first half is kind of like a student-led worship service. So if you are musically inclined, maybe that's an opportunity for you to be able to sing up on stage. And then the second half is going to be more of a pastor coming in and talking, or a speaker coming in and just sharing a message with our students. We really work hard to find speakers that are really tailored to talking to young people. So it ends up being a really great experience for you as well as a student. We also ask that you participate in some Bible courses that we have at APU. The great thing about these courses is you not only get to learn about the Bible, but they're also really academically centered. And so that really allows you to also expand your knowledge in an academic setting and get some really great insight there as well. So moving on to scholarship, now that we're talking about our classes, one of the great parts about APU is our smaller class sizes. And the reason that this is so great is that you're able to come to APU and really get a hands-on, personalized experience. Because of our small class sizes, our students are be able to meet with their professors. They're able to really build connections, which further help get you internships. And then once you graduate, jobs as well. So that's one thing that we really love at APU. That also means that our classes are not impacted. So you'll hear about that a lot if you're looking at some other larger universities, but we really work hard to make sure that our students are able to get into the classes that they need so that they can graduate on time. One thing I talked about before is internships. So at APU, we are a very hands-on school. We really want to place you in internships that will help you get experience and then lead to jobs down the road, because after all, that's why you were going to college in the first place. And so we have had some really cool places that some of our students have had the opportunity to do internships at. And some of my favorites to talk about are Disneyland. We all know and love Disneyland. We've had students work at Adidas, Nike, JPL. So there really are so many different opportunities for you to be able to find something that really fits well with your major as well. And then service. So service is our third cornerstone that we have here at APU. Service is really integral to everything that we do. We really believe in not only serving our local Azusa community, but also serving all over the world. And so you as a student will have the opportunity to get to serve and find opportunities to really, make a difference in the world around you. And not only is that great for you just as a person helping other people, but it also really makes a big impact when future jobs and employers are able to see that you took the time to also help and serve, even though you were so busy throughout your college experience. So that's a really great thing that we offer as well. And then lastly is community. I think this is what really makes APU feel just like your home away from home. I don't know about you, but I had to travel out of state to go to college, and I was really nervous about finding a community that just really felt like home, especially being far away from family. And I can honestly say that APU does a really great job of that. We do this through a couple of things. We have over 100 different clubs on campus. So this is really a way for you to find people who maybe enjoy doing the same things as you, or meeting people who maybe enjoy doing different things than you and learning a new skill or a new talent to be able to kind of boost yourself as well. We also offer sports. So we do have college level sports. So we're NCAA Division II. So if you're a star athlete, that's awesome. We'd love to have you come play for us. But we also have rec sports as well, which is perfect for someone like me who wasn't the star athlete, but still really wanted to get involved and be active on campus. So we have all kinds of different teams and opportunities for you to be able to do that on campus as well. Great. So those are our 4 cornerstones. Like I mentioned, we will keep going on here. So again, don't know where all of you are coming from, but I wanted to highlight a little bit about where we are. So we are located in Southern California. We're about 45 minutes from everything, I like to say. So about 45 minutes from the beach, Disneyland, Angel Stadium, the mountains. So there's always opportunities for you to have lots of activities to do outside of campus as well. If you are coming as a undergraduate student, then you will be at our Azusa campus, which is where this beautiful red star is. That's where we're located. We're right at the base of the San Gabriel Mountains. It's actually really beautiful. We have some nice hikes out here, and it's just really local and central to a lot of other great areas that I mentioned. But you will see some other campuses that are on our map as well. These are primarily for our graduate and professional studies students. So if you decide that you want to continue on in your education, you can potentially move to one of those campuses post-graduation. All right, so we're going to take a little look at some numbers here to kind of break down a little bit more about who we are. So you can see the very first one, 9,006 students. That is our total student population. We're about 50% undergrad and 50% grad. So yeah, it's a really perfect size, I think, because it kind of offers you that mid-sized university where you'll always see people down our Cougar Walk, which is kind of our main walkway on campus that you'll know, and they'll be able to say hello. But then you always have the opportunity to meet new people on campus as well. So I think it's just the right size for someone who's looking for just a really nice integrated community as well. I talked about our smaller class sizes before, but this really gives you an exact look at that as well. So we have 19 students as our average class size. Again, that's like the perfect size if you're looking to have just the opportunity to not just be a number at a school, but really like a face and a name. Our professors are really wonderful at getting to know you as a person and not only focusing on you as someone who is going to work in the field and a student who's trying to learn, but also as a person. So I think that's really unique and special about APU as well. And then our student to faculty ratio. So currently our student to faculty ratio is 12:1. So again, you're going to get that really personal experience where your professor will be able to connect you in those internships, which are going to help you lead to future jobs as well. I also want to mention and encourage you, if you already know what major you're maybe interested in, or you're like set on your major, I would definitely encourage you to sign up for one of our academic connects. I just did one last night and it was so cool because it really allows for you to meet professors already in that major. So you'll already have that like connection and you get to hear from them exactly about your major. So if that's something you're interested in, we will be putting our admissions email in the chat, and you can always check that out by going online to our website or just by emailing us as well. And we can definitely get you connected there too. And then I also mentioned that we are NCAA Division II. We have 17 sports on campus. So there's always an athletic event going on. And if you are the star athlete at your high school, like I said, we'd love to have you. You can reach out to your admissions counselor and they would be happy to get you some information on how to get started playing athletics here at APU. All right, so this is a wonderful list of all of our majors that we have on campus. So there are truly so many. We have 68 majors for our undergraduate students. So you are really able to find something that will fit best with your career choices and what you want to do. Like I said, your admissions representative is really here to help partner with you and figure out what's best for you. So feel free to chat with them if you have specific questions or you're thinking about some different majors, maybe on campus. That's a really great opportunity for you to be able to ask what that might look like for you as well. And then also I mentioned the academic connects. That's like the best way for you to get connected and learn more about your future major as well. All right. So this talks a little bit more about our reputation and who we are and what makes us stand out. So the very first one I want to talk about is that we're an R2 doctoral university. There's only 5% of schools that are in this category. And that is such a high honor. That really means that we are focused on providing data and research opportunities for our students in their undergraduate. That's really rare. A lot of times, students aren't able to do those kinds of experiences until they're doing like their graduate work. So it's either their master's or doctoral work. So we are really lucky to be a part of that and receive that award as well. And that was awarded by the Carnegie Foundation. The second award and really big thing that makes us stick out is that we are #1 in first year experience in the state of California. So that means just providing you with all kinds of opportunities to get connected on campus and just really make sure that your first year at APU is successful, right? So your first year, that's the time where you're figuring everything out. Maybe it's your first time away from home. You're trying to navigate that, living away from home, figuring out your new major, balancing all these fun activities and also schoolwork. So we really work hard to make sure that you are successful and that you're connected at APU during your first year. And then we are top 25 for universities according to our alumni. So our alumni love us as well. They love coming back and just sharing great things about APU. So many wonderful stories and experiences from people who have gone here way, way back and also really recently as well. So that's a great award too. And then our last one that I'll talk about is that we are #1 in the state of California for nursing. So if you are hoping to do nursing, you are in the right place. We have a very competitive nursing program. It is a direct entry nursing program. So that means that you are actually able to start in the nursing program right at your freshman year, which is super unique as well. We also allow for you to do a lot more lab work and things your freshman year as well. So if you're interested in doing nursing, our deadline for that application is November 15th. So definitely reach out to your admissions representative if you have questions or if you want to start that application. Would highly recommend getting started on that right away. Awesome. And just as a quick reminder, I see a few of you putting questions in the Q&A. Feel free to keep doing that. I'll definitely get to those at the end so that we can make sure all your questions are answered. But this next slide here talks a little bit about our application. So whether you have already started your application or you're planning to right after this, this really shows you exactly what it looks like. So it's super simple. I always say it takes about like 20 minutes, depending on how quickly you can work on it, but really easy, really simple. You'll see at the very bottom the link to our application. So all you have to go to is apu.edu/apply. It'll pull right up here. You'll select if you're either an undergraduate or transfer student, and then you'll just go in and fill out the application. And that will, once that's all finished, we'll be in contact with you about a decision to getting into college. All right, so this talks about our application requirements. So our GPA requirement is a 2.5. That's a weighted GPA. So that means if you took any AP or honor classes, those will be factored in as well. So as long as you're meeting that threshold, feel free to apply. We'd love to review your application. You'll also be able to fill out a personal statement. I'm an admissions representative, so I review applications all day. And I can tell you my top thing that we're looking for is just why you want to come to APU. What makes you stand out? Why does the school feel like a place for you? And if you write that in your essay, one of us admissions representatives will love to read that and consider you for admission. This year, we are ACT and SAT optional. So it's obviously a reality that the last couple years have been crazy. So if you didn't have the opportunity to take either of those, that's totally okay. But if you did, feel free to send those in and we can definitely review that as well. But it's not really contingent on your admission. So as long as you have a 2.5, that's all you really need to get accepted to APU. And we also don't have an application fee. So even if you're like, I don't really know if AP is the school for me, there's no harm in applying because it's totally free to apply. So it won't hurt you at all. And then there are some additional requirements for different majors. So that's usually going to be any of our like arts majors and then our nursing majors and a few of our science majors as well. So just some good things to be aware of. If you have questions on what that looks like, feel free again to reach out to your admissions representative. They'll know all that and they'll be able to direct you. Okay, so this might seem like the most boring slide in the presentation, but it's actually my favorite. So this is obviously 100%, we can all read that. This actually represents the number of students that receive financial aid at APU, which is incredible. That means no one is not receiving financial aid. So what's great about that is when you apply to APU, if you're admitted, just admitted, you're gonna receive a scholarship from us. And then those can go anywhere from $11,000 all the way up to $22,000, again, just based on your GPA. We also have lots of different opportunities for you to receive aid through us. My next slides here have a little bit more information on that as well. Like I mentioned, though, there's those scholarship tiers. So we have the Mary Hill, the directors, deans, provosts, and presidents. So ranging from $11,000 all the way up to $22,000 in aid that you can receive just from doing well in school. So we really want to honor all your hard work that you've been doing over the last 4 years. I know it's not easy. So APU really likes to give our students the opportunity to receive a gift from us of an academic scholarship. All right, and then this is a really special scholarship. So this is a full tuition scholarship. This is our trustees scholarship. Each year we select just a handful of students to receive this full tuition scholarship. It's only for first-time freshmen, and the way that you would be eligible is if you had a 3.9 GPA or above. So if you do, you'll want to go ahead and apply for that. When you're filling out your application, there's a place where you can check that, and then you can be reviewed for the trustees scholarship as well. So it also is really important that if you are applying for this scholarship, that you are involved either through your school or through your community. There's somewhere that you're involved and that you are working to make the world a better place around you. So definitely would encourage you to apply if you're in that threshold, and you want to make sure that you apply by November 15th. So coming up, not too far away. If you are just filling out your application, again, just make sure you check that. And then if you do have specific questions on the trustee scholarship, once again, you'll want to reach out to your admissions representative to be able to get some clarity on that. But this one is, again, really simple. You're going to need a few letters of recommendation. And then you will also need to write an essay for this one too. All right, so we have a few additional scholarships that are available to our students. So if you are, again, that star athlete that wants to come and play at APU, we do have some athletic scholarships available. So if you are planning to do athletics, I would definitely encourage you, first of all, to go to the NCAA and fill out their forms first, and then reach out to us about filling out APU's recruitment forms. And then that will put you in touch with potentially receiving a scholarship and getting in touch with some coaches. We also have a multi-ethnic leadership scholarship. This is our MEL scholarship. This is an incredible scholarship if you are interested in making a difference in that way. So that's something you can also apply for, and again would be something you would want to ask your admissions counselor for, because they can give you the information on how to apply for that one. We also have some program specific scholarships. So you'll see the College of the Arts, the School of Music, and also accounting have some scholarships available. So if you're in one of those programs or planning to be, again, reach out to your admissions representative and they'll be able to get you some more information on that too. Awesome. So this next slide is FAFSA, which actually just opened. This stands for the Free Application for Federal Student Aid. I want to emphasize free. This application is totally free to fill out. So you'll definitely want to do it each year. It actually just opened on October 1st. So if you are planning to fill it out, I would definitely get started on that. We are actually planning to start reviewing and packaging up financial aid packages. So would definitely encourage you to do that as soon as possible so that we can get you some information on how much it will cost for you to come to APU next year. But the FAFSA is really helpful because it helps kind of give you access to a few different forms of financial aid. So like I mentioned before, it's 100% free. So there's really no reason why you shouldn't fill it out. It will open on October 1st. We talked about that as well. And then it opens you up to some other additional forms of aid besides the scholarships that we talked about. So that's things like the Pell Grant, which is a federal grant that is awarded, the Cal Grant, which is also a state grant that is awarded. If you are eligible for the Cal Grant, you'll want to make sure that you are in communication with your high school counselor. There's a verification process that they have to go through. They'll totally know what you're talking about. So make sure if you are in the state of California, they're in communication with your high school counselor about that process as well. And then the APU grant. So this is a grant that APU offered to our students based on your FAFSA information, and then federal loans. So there are a couple of different loans. There's the subsidized and the unsubsidized loan, as well as the Parent Plus loan. So these can be accessed through completing the FAFSA as well. So you'll want to make sure that you are filling that out so that we can see what forms of financial aid that you are eligible for. Great. So this gives you a little bit of insight on our fall 2022 application deadlines. So we do have our early action deadline, which is on November 15th, as well as our trustees and our nursing. So would highly encourage everyone to get everything in by November 15th, but especially if you are in nursings or trustees, that is a hard deadline. So we'll want to make sure that you have everything in by then. And then February 15th is our regular application deadline. So you'll want to put that one on your calendar as well. And then May 1st is going to be our 2021 deposit deadline. So that is when you will have to make the final decision about where you want to come to college. And if it is APU, which I really hope it is, that will kind of lock you in to coming to APU. So you have until May 1st to make that decision. So again, you applying, it doesn't bind you to APU. It really just gives you the opportunity to kind of see what options you have. And then May 1st is when you'll be able to make that final decision. All right, and if you are planning to come spring 2022, you've got a little bit more time to apply. So October 15th is our spring decision deadline, and then our final deadline is going to be December 1st. So again, coming up, you'll want to be on top of that if you are planning to come in the spring. Okay, and we are actually going to stop there. Thank you all so much for joining me. Hopefully that was really helpful and it gave you some good insight. I am going to review some of these questions here that we have in the chat. So give me one more second. Let's see what we've got here. Okay, take a sip of water. Okay, the first question is, if a freshman applicant is accepted, how can he or she apply to the pre-med program? This is an awesome question. So pre-med is actually not necessarily a program or a major. It's actually a track. So what you will do is you will want to go in with a biology major. That is a major that we recommend that students take because it really helps prepare you for something called the MCAT, which is that big entrance exam that you will want to take before you begin med school. So it's really what helps you prepare for that. And what you'll do is when you apply, you'll pick biology. And then once you're like all set and ready to come to APU, you will be able to meet with someone in our academic success center. And you'll just let them know, hey, I want to go on the pre-med track. And then they will just put you on that. It has a few additional classes specifically catered for people who want to go the pre-med route. And that's really all you'll do for that. So it's not necessarily a major, it's just a track that you're able to kind of choose right when you sort of declare your major and talk about with your academic success coach. So great question. What is the significance of the honors college program? Is it more demanding or simply a distinction? Awesome question. Yeah, the honors college is awesome. So honors college is going to be specifically for students who are really interested in writing and reading. It's really heavy on both of those. So this is actually something that you'll basically like double major in. So you will the great thing about the honors college is that it's more of like a discussion based major than it is like a test based. So really what happens is you go in and the whole time that you're in there is just discussion based. Oftentimes it's on major works that are read. You also have the opportunity to create a publication throughout your time in the honors college. But the honors college just really provides students with kind of a really distinct way of getting to be able to have more knowledge in the writing and reading field, as well as, again, since you're not doing tests, you have the opportunity to really do a lot of discussion-based learning, which is great too. So awesome question. If you are interested in honors college, there's also, similar to the trustees like I was talking about, there's also a box that you can check for that as well. And there is a couple letters of recommendation and then a statement as well that you'll want to fill out for honors college in specific. But that is how that one goes. So just make sure if you have questions specifically on honors college that you are in touch with your admissions counselor so that they can get you some more information on that too. Okay, let's see. Do you have to be the star athlete of your respective sport to make the team? That's an awesome question. I would say that's not one I know a ton of information on, just because I'm not one of the coaches of said sport that you're wanting to play. But I would definitely encourage you to at least try out. It doesn't hurt, of course. So I would say, again, you'll want to make sure you go to the NCAA Division II form, fill it all out, and then get in touch with your admissions representative about filling out our form for playing sports at APU. And then that will get you in touch with our coaches about potentially playing at APU as well. So that's great. Okay, question about tuition. So our overall costs of tuition, including room and board, is about $51,000 for this next year. I do want to remind you though, like I mentioned before, no one is paying that because 100% of our students are receiving aid. So that is kind of our sticker price, we like to call it, but you won't be paying that when you come to APU because of all the aid and the scholarships that we do offer for our students at APU as well. Great question. Let's see here. How do I sign up for an Academic Connect? Awesome question. Yeah, so in the same way that you signed up for this on our website, you can go to our APU events page and you'll be able to see all the different ones that are listed there as well. But our undergraduate admissions also dropped in our UG admissions email too. So if you have any trouble finding it, you can always email them as well, and they can send you specifically the link. And it looks like actually Randall dropped the visit for campus tours and event registration. So actually, if you just highlight that link and paste it, you'll be able to find that as well. So great question. Would highly encourage that. It's so helpful. We have actual professors from the programs and students from the programs who come and talk at those. So it's a great way for you to get all those questions answered to your professors. Okay. Do you have to apply early action to be considered for the trustees scholarship? Also, is early action binding? So yes, you do have to apply early action to be considered for the trustees scholarship. That one again is due November 15th, and that is a hard deadline. So you will want to make sure if you're planning to do trustees that you apply before then, but it isn't binding. Like I mentioned, you're not locked into anything until May 1st. That's when you'll need to make those final decisions on where you'll be attending college. Great question. What if your GPA is higher than 2.5 but unweighted? Is that still acceptable? Okay, so yes, if your GPA is higher than 2.5, that's great. It just has to be above a 2.5 weighted. So that's kind of our general admission requirements. But if you're above that, that's awesome. That will subject you to higher scholarships and things like that. So that's awesome if you have above a 2.5. And as far as transcripts go too, since that's something that you'll want to send in once you finish your application. So what you want to do is contact your high school counselor and see if your high school uses something called like parchment, or if they plan on sending them in themselves. In order for it to be an official transcript, you'll want to make sure that you have your counselor or some type of college website send in your transcripts directly to us. If it comes from you, we can take it for a little while, but at some point we will need an official transcript. So just make sure that you're in contact again with your high school counselor about getting those in. Great question. All right. Do you have to fill out a form to apply to those academic scholarships, or is it automatically assigned to you if you are accepted? Great question. Yeah, so those will automatically be given to you, and you'll be notified of that when you are accepted to the university. So it's not you applying for it, it's just you doing well in high school, which is awesome. So we'll be able to tell you what scholarship you received upon your admittance to the university. Good question. Let's see here. How do I know if I'm filling out the right application? Good question. I would say the main thing you would want to make sure is that if you are an undergraduate student, so that means that you are still currently in high school, or that you have never gone to another college, you are filling out the right application. You'll want to make sure that you're filling out the undergraduate one. If you're a transfer, you'll fill out the transfer scholarship or the transfer application, excuse me. And if you do have any questions, you can always email that UG admissions email too, just to make sure that you're on the right track. But yeah, you'll just want to make sure if you're a first-time freshman, meaning you haven't gone to college before, it's okay if you've taken some like, I don't know, pre-college classes or like some college courses through a community college, but you're still in high school, then you'll want to make sure that you clicked the undergraduate application. Good question. Hi, I'm going to apply for the nursing program. Are there any special requirements to getting accepted? Yeah, there are. So that's something that your admissions representative can detail a little bit more as well. But we do have kind of a GPA threshold, as well as some requirements with some of the science and math courses. So there are some certain math courses that you have to have taken, and also some biology and some chemistry classes as well. For the biology and chemistry classes, I believe you have to have a B or better, but I would say definitely reach out to your admissions representative on some of those specifics. And then also our website really details it super well too. So you'll be able to see exactly the requirements to getting into the nursing program and what that looks like too. Great. What are some of the major accomplishments music majors had from APU? Good question. Yeah, so we have had some awesome alumni who have come out of APU. We have students who are doing a lot of work in LA, whether that's like recording or being a part of some major orchestras in the area. So there's definitely lots of music opportunities, not just because we're close to LA, but because our professors have also really been successful in the music field. So they are really good about getting students those opportunities. I know we've had students perform at like the Walt Disney Concert Hall, if you're familiar with that. So all different areas for you to get involved as a music major too at APU as well. Great question. Do you accept official transcripts from Navins? That's a great question. I don't know what Navins is, but I'm assuming as long as it's a transcript website where you can order them through that, that would be totally acceptable. I'm sorry that I don't know exactly what that is, but again, definitely would be a great question to just verify with your admissions counselor. We do generally take transcripts through any type of like transcript ordering site like Parchment, if you've heard of that. So if Navins is just like that, then you should be okay with that too, but always good to double check with your admissions representative just to make sure. Okay, does a person who is applying need to be religious to be accepted to APU? Great question. I talked about this a little bit, but no, you don't have to be a Christian to come to APU. We don't ask you to sign a statement of faith or anything like that. On your application, though, we will ask if you are okay with being a part of things like our Bible classes and our chapel, things like that. So you will have to agree to that in order to get accepted to the university, but you don't have to be a Christian to come to APU. So don't have to worry about that if you are not coming from a Christian background. What are the benefits to honors college? Any scholarships connected with it? Great question. Again, like I mentioned, the honors college is really great about providing you the opportunity to do a publication. It also is great about providing you a more of a colloquy classroom setting. So you're able to ask a lot more questions, have discussion-based questions. So that's really easy for our students to just learn more information on some really important classical works. They also ask really leading questions, which allow for you to really think outside the box. And then there are scholarships connected with it. So yeah, there are some scholarships that are tied to our honors college. So when you apply to the honors college, if you are accepted, you would receive some form of a scholarship for being a part of honors college. And that is renewable as long as you stay within the honors college for all 4 years. Okay. Does chapel discuss relevant issues, or is it simply religious? Great question. I would say there are a variety of different chapel services and opportunities. So I think it can really range. We have had speakers like Francis Chan, if you know him, and then also just like local pastors and speakers as well. I would say that the chapel speakers do a really good job of making it relevant to college students and sort of like catering it to your age group. So I would say that it is pretty relevant, but they also, of course, use the Bible as well in their speaking too. So I think you get a good mix of both. We have different types of chapel services as well, which I kind of shared about, but we have some more like liturgical chapels, which would be more of like a Catholic mass. And then we have some more kind of like upbeat services as well. So it just kind of depends on what you are sort of more interested in. Okay, any major can choose the pre-med program, correct? For instance, kinesiology. Yeah, good question. I would say no. The biology major and I think allied health would be the other one that you could do really well with the pre-med track. I think generally it's tied specifically to the biology major. But you can, so the way med school works is you can technically go in with any major. You just have to have completed the certain requirements. So if you are planning to go to med school and you're not planning to do a major like biology, biochemistry, allied health, you will want to just research whatever med schools that you're thinking of applying to. And you'll want to make sure that those majors have those specific classes that you need in order to be eligible for admittance to the med school. And I would recommend checking like probably 10 different med schools, since you never really know where you're going to get accepted, just to make sure that you have all those classes necessary and needed in your major. And then again, I would recommend doing biology because it's going to be the one that best prepares you for the MCAT, which will be that entrance exam that you have to take in order to get into med school. For the SAT, do I need to request official scores from College Board? Yep, exactly right. You will go on College Board, you request the official scores, and then we can get those sent over to us. College Board is super user-friendly, so it should be great to use. Let's see here. By any chance, do you know how many students get accepted to nursing yearly? Yeah, great question. We accept 100 students yearly. We have 2 different cohorts, our fall cohort and then our spring cohort. So it's about 50-50 for each of those, but it'll be 100 a year. So it's super competitive. We always have so many students that apply to our nursing program, and it's really cool when you get to actually meet students who have gotten in, because it is just such a great program, but it is highly competitive. All right, let's see here. Does APU recognize credits from community college taken during high school years? Yes, we do. So what you would want to do is you'll indicate on your application that you attended a community college and you'll just need to send in your transcripts from those community colleges. We can review it and see if the classes will transfer over and if you'll receive credit from that. Generally, most will transfer over, but it's hard for me to just tell you for sure that yours will transfer without knowing what they were. But if you indicate that on your application and send in your transcripts, we'll definitely be able to evaluate that for you and see if we can get those transferred over. Perfect. I applied and got the denial decision last year, but I applied again recently. Does that mean I will get the admissions decision? Great question. Yeah. So, we will have to review your application. It usually takes us a number of weeks to review applications and see if students will be admitted. So your admissions counselor will be in touch with you about getting accepted to APU. Yeah, I think reach out to your admissions representative. I'm not sure if you're like a transfer or undergraduate student, but depending on, again, if you have that 2.5 threshold, then you should be admitted to APU, but definitely would want to be in contact with your admissions representative about admissions decisions. Great question, Rick. Could you get into the honors college, then realize it's not for you later and drop out, or is it binding? Great question. I don't quite know that for sure. I think that you do have the opportunity to drop out, but I'm sure it's not recommended. It is a program where it's only a select number of students who get to do it. And so they really like to have students in there that are really passionate about being in the honors college. And since it's only open to a few students, they want to be able to give those opportunities to students that are really interested. But I would say definitely fill it out and see if you are someone that does get interested in it or accepted. And then you can always have those conversations with the honors college and see if it's a good fit for you too. Okay. How many people get into the pre-med track yearly? Great question. So this one actually, like I said, so you will actually just want to get admitted to the biology major. So you'll just pick the biology major. It's not necessarily like nursing where you will get admitted or not admitted to the nursing program. So it'll just be dependent on if you get into the biology major, which generally students are able to get into that as long as they meet the math and science requirements. And again, you can talk with your admissions representative on what those exactly are and what they kind of look like for you. Do you know the acting major class size? Great question. I don't know how many students are currently in our acting major, but I know, again, like I mentioned before, our acting classes are around, or all of our classes are around 19 students. So that's the average class size. But I'm not entirely sure like how many students are currently in the program, like everywhere at APU. But would be a great question. Would be a great question to ask at an academic connect too, or reach out to your academic or your admissions representative. Any of our arts majors are really great about connecting with students before they come to APU. So if you would like to meet with a professor, that would be an opportunity where you could maybe ask a little bit more about those classes and what they look like. So great question. If I ask my counselor to send my official transcripts to APU, where do we ask to send them? A specific email? Yep, that UG admissions email that is in the chat. You can send them there. And they will get them passed off to the rest of our admissions team. So feel free to pass that along to your school counselor. Great question. Awesome, guys. Thanks for all the questions. We do have a few more minutes. So if you have any last minute questions, feel free to send those in. I can make sure we get them all answered before we go. Let's see here. Do transcripts have to be sent over to APU first before applying? No, they don't. So you will actually finish the application. There is a spot on the application that will prompt you to put in like your high school counselor's information. So then once you do that, they can send in your transcripts, or you can finish the application and then have your high school counselor send them via email or again, through like a college website like Parchment or something like that, that will send in your transcript. So you don't have to send them in before you applied. In fact, you wouldn't really want to send them in before you applied because we wouldn't know whose file they go with. So you'll want to make sure that you apply and start your application before you send in your transcripts. Good question. All right. Does it have to be a biology major to take the pre-med track? Because I want to major in international relations, but also take all the prerequisites for the pre-med. Great question. Yes. So this would be something you would definitely want to speak with your, what are they called? Sorry, academic success coach when you come to APU, because I, as an admissions counselor, don't have a lot of information on what exact classes those are and how you can fit them in, but I do know that you are able to do other majors just as long as you can take those kind of requirements to get into med school. So like I said, definitely would make sure that you're checking whatever med schools that you're interested in, those classes that they specifically require. And then if you wanted to do a major like international relations, you would be able to speak with your academic success coach and just say like, hey, I need to fit in like these extra classes as well in order to be eligible for med school. So I would say that would probably be the route that I would suggest that you take, just so that you can kind of go that route and be able to fill those out as well. Great. Perfect. How do I get in touch with the nursing advisor? Yeah, it's a really good question. So you can go to our website and you can look up the School of Nursing, but probably the best way to get information on nursing would just be to contact your admissions representative. They'll be able to tell you a lot about our nursing program, how that functions and how that works. So you'll just basically want to reach out to them so that you can get those questions answered. Let's see, is it okay to put an unofficial transcript with the application along with sending the official one later? Yeah, that's totally fine. I will tell you though that you will have to wait on an admissions decision until we receive your official transcript, but it's fine to do it just as like a placeholder if you want to, but definitely would recommend that you get that transcript sent in as soon as you possibly can. Great question. Perfect. Awesome. Well, we're just about to wrap up. I'll give just a little bit more time for any questions, but it has been so great chatting with all of you. You guys are asking so many great questions, which is awesome. So thank you all so much for being here. As I mentioned, we did put some helpful contact information as well as some links in the chat for you. So feel free to make sure that you copied that down before you go. We have some links to visiting campus and some event registration, and then also our main admissions email and our phone number as well. Which department should I email for my pre-med question? Yeah, I would email the science, probably the science. I can't remember exactly what your question was, but if you were the person who asked about, let's see, let me see. I'm going to go back. If a freshman applicant is accepted, how can he or she apply to the pre-med major? Okay, I'm thinking that's the question you're referring to. So what you will want to do is be in contact with your admissions representative. You'll want to let them know, hey, I want to go the biology route, but I want to do the pre-med track. And then once you've made the decision to come to APU, you will mention that to your academic success coach. And they will actually be the ones who will talk with you about what that looks like. If you want just more information on the pre-med track, though, specifically from the bio major, if you go to our website, you can look up our biology department and you can email their department and they will get in contact with you about what that looks like and how that kind of fits in with the biology major. So that would probably be my recommendation on who to contact for that. Okay, great. So if I completed all my prerequisites through college, I'd fill out the undergraduate application. Okay, great question. So the distinction basically is that what you'll want to do is let's see. So if you haven't graduated high school, then you would be considered an undergraduate student, even if you've done your prerequisites through a college. If you have graduated high school and then you've done some classes through a college, that's going to look a little bit differently. And that's where we would need to see if you have done enough to be evaluated as a transfer, or if you are still considered a first-time freshman. So depending on where you're at there, I would say reach out to the general admissions email, and maybe give some more context as to, again, if you are still a high school senior and you're just have done some classes during high school, or if you already graduated and you've been doing college classes. So that way we can kind of know if you are a freshman or a transfer student. So great question. I know it can kind of be confusing on the distinction. So no worries at all. Again, we just have a few more minutes if anyone has any last minute questions. Thank you so much for all your great questions today. It's been so great chatting with all of you. I really appreciate all of the questions. And like I mentioned, again, we are always available to chat with you about your general admissions questions, as well as just about our events that we're having on campus. So please feel free to reach out to us either through your admissions representative or through that general APU email or phone number, and we would be happy to chat with you a little bit more and just see if APU is a good fit for you. I do really hope that this presentation was helpful. I definitely enjoyed talking more about APU, and we have a great admissions team who is just excited to help you and partner with you over the next year. So please reach out if you have any questions or if anything comes up that you think of after the event. You can go ahead and copy down that email and shoot us an email if anything comes up. But thank you so much for being a part of today's event. It was wonderful getting to talk with you, and I hope to see you all on campus very soon. Thanks so much. Have a great rest of your day.